I want to congratulate you if you made it this far because I know this has been a lot. Setting up a new system is never easy, and there's really no fast track or shortcut to do it. Um, Aside from, and I will go back and actually in the words that I used to describe these videos, if all you do is set it up for your business, start there. You don't have to do the other, oops, you don't have to do all of the different pillars if you don't want to. If you just start with your business pillars, that's all you need. Good enough to get going. Getting used to even just getting an organized system for your business is going to make things so easier for you and your team if you've got a team. So to kind of bring it all back, we have our two main sections, I guess, for the system. You've got the alignment, which is where, most people just start at the goals of like, here are the goals I set, here's the revenue goal. But then it's okay, well, what aspiration is that goal serving? And what are the foundational pieces of your life that have to be all kind of working together, or even just the foundational pieces of your business to keep your business going? So we went through pillars, and through the pillars, we, created our dreams and themes. And then from those, we built on goals and milestones that were also in support of pillars, and everything all the way down through the different projects, actions, and tasks. So once you get the system, set up, your main, right now we're just focusing on system setup. I will kind of finish that thought in a separate video because I was gonna say you can use this also for planning. Um, but that's actually probably going to be better done through the focus dashboards, which I will kind of get into in a separate video because I realize I have it. So it's bringing together like the core concepts here. So for the alignment, um, getting that all done, the execution piece of it, because it's really the projects that we pursue in our business, as well as the habits we cultivate and are consistent with through and the actions that we do that are going to ultimately help us to reach our goals so we can achieve our dreams. And so, just our life is fully integrated because I don't believe in work-life balance. I don't, because balance implies that things are kind of sometimes stuff's going to be a little over here, sometimes stuff's going to be a little over here. And it's really about having those integrated pockets. Like this is right now the business time. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to go and it'll be family time. And it's about having those things integrated. Um, and so you've been through each of these areas, everything's there, you've created stuff here, there, whatever. You don't know if you've got everything linked the way you want it. You don't know. That's where the last step. So you put in all your actions. You might have created some recurring tasks that'll automatically generate for you. And you might have created some templates that you can use in the future for things like client onboarding, things I haven't even touched on. There's some other components within Notion that are really cool that I will release future videos on to show you ways you can kind of even up level your own system. Because I also believe in teaching you how to fish. I want to just give you the system, and then through this, you'll learn how to use this tool even more, might even develop your own. Who can say? But once you're through, your last step is really, we're going to come through. We're just going to run through the maintenance section. So if anything's missing, if there's a dream or theme that's missing a box being checked or a pillar, it'll show up here. If anytime you see an LU, it is actually referencing another database looking for that information. So sometimes you might have something there, but it's not showing up. This is because this is actually, and if you're ever curious, you can right click on it, edit the property, and it will tell you it's looking at the dreams and themes table to find pillars and areas that might be missing. So it's always looking either one level up or one level below, generally. But this one is focused around the check boxes, so that's probably why that's not. So all you do is this is that. This is actually both. So the tricky thing is, like, when you're doing this, it'll remove it once you check one of them. So when you're viewing it in another, you can just add it to the other. But the idea is, like, you want at least something checked here. So we will finish that up. Now that's clear, go through projects, and then this is missing. So this is missing, and you can link it here, even though that's not what this is for. This is really just concerned with the check boxes. But I believe in, like, hey, if I can take care of it now, I don't have to do it later. So boop, boop. That is going to be so for products, you could create one, but since offers are foundational to your business, I'm going to put it under foundations. If one of these others makes more sense for you, you want to throw it under sales and marketing. Actually, that probably makes more sense, sales and marketing, because it's a launch. There you go. Somebody can do this too. So this is all business. This is health. Whoops. And I inadvertently just tried to add one. And so it'll show up there. And then actions and tasks. This is marketing. And then business. And then once you're done, that section's done. And then we'll go through this. So you can kind of see that depending on how you're entering these into the system, or whether you're running in as you're on dreams and that's when it strikes you and you add it in, but you don't link it elsewhere, this is your safety net that will catch that, which is why anytime I recommend coming back to this maintenance area minimum once a month, just to make sure everything goes there. This is also the area where you're like, I know I created a task for that, but if I'm in my work view, I know it's a work task, but it's not showing up in that view. This is where you come to fix it, to say, okay, well, is it missing an area? And that's why I've planted all these different little things to kind of give you the hint of, like, hey, I'm missing data that you might need for this to show up in a contextual sense, which this whole system is built around having things surface at the right moment, the right time, in the right context. I may or may not have borrowed that from David Allen's Getting Things Done methodology. I know there's elements of that to it. I want to make sure I'm kind of citing some of my inspiration here. I've read a lot of books on productivity and things like that. But so this way, because this is effectively missing the pillar area, and you just go through the same thing, and that's where this, like, lookup thing could be helpful. So I don't actually have anything here, so since I don't have anything to reference or check, I can look back over, okay, are there any projects giving me any hints? Are there any, dreams or anything like that? If there's nothing there, you can, what this is going to be a home and lifestyle, because it's a travel thing. And then read fiction books. This is going to be reading fiction, could be a home and lifestyle thing, but I would argue it's more of a personal thing. And my identity could be, I read science fiction. Yeah, so you can assign that. This one, oh, it's because the top. So unfortunately, they don't have a way that sub items will automatically inherit relations from the parent item. Kind of wish they did. But there may be programmatic reasons for that. So you just will come in and do that, and this will disappear here in a second. Once you've satisfied anything underneath it, this will go away. So, because I bet if I go back to that, yep, see there, it just disappeared. It just took it a second to update. All right, so pillars. This is going to be fulfillment, home and lifestyle. And actually, what's really fun is one way you can do that is if you click this, you get this little blue thing. Boop, fixed. So essentially what it is, the one that is populated, if it's got sub items, I can click this and then it gives you this little drag vertically to fill, kind of like how Excel does. Doesn't work with double click though. So that's going to be sales and marketing. And now that I've got that, I can go whoop. And you can see that this has like a little lookup field where it's like, hey, we found this information on something else. And so it's like, okay, sales marketing. And then, whoop, oops. And yeah, and yes, I am going to go through these just so you can see just repetition of how fast you can move through these. I'd be probably already done with this section if I wasn't talking through this. This is going to be fast. All right, cool. And then you move down to the Dreamer theme. Because I'm going to show you what, okay, so to kind of give you an idea, we've had, I haven't moved all the Dream themes, but now everything that we have there's a lot more under what's a focus pillar and not a focus pillar right now, for me to kind of prioritize that, versus as we get down to like this projects and habits level, there's a lot of things I'm like, it's just simply not a focus, but because there's a lot of this no link stuff. And so that's why you want to clean this up, is because that's what is going to bring all this up. So this is showing grow sustainable food. Oop. And then do that. You can also go directly to, like I could go specifically to the projects and habits database and do all this manually, depending sometimes there's, but I just wanted to make sure you had one area where you could completely clean or have everything clean. I don't have a Dreamer theme for that. So if you get to this point, you're like, oh, I don't really have a Dreamer theme. Well, maybe you thought of projects, but not necessarily a tie up. You can kind of think of like, well, what is the vision that this is helping me achieve? And so it really works both ways. Whereas a lot of systems is like you're kind of very rigidly locked into one direction or another. This is flexible. That is going to be, yeah, again, I don't have, because I didn't include those, but this is, all right, I'm not going to do all these. So you kind of get the idea at this point too, where this is providing me enough information that it's like, okay, this is where this is coming in. And this ties to is looking specifically, oh, sorry. It's looking at a formula to try to determine what is, what it should be linking. So this is probably missing more information than that. But yeah, and then you can just use these lookup fields to do that, or you can also still go all the way over and see like, okay, are there any goals tied to this? Pillars. Okay, well, this is giving me an idea of what these might need to be. So I'm gonna pause the recording here, and I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up so you don't have to wait on me this time. All right, so I went through and I cleaned up the goals, milestones, actions. One I didn't hit on was the pillars and areas, because obviously we didn't create something for everyone. But if you have things in this one, you don't really need to worry about it as much, because if you're just setting this up for business and all of this shows the personal, home, family, or maybe the areas that don't apply to you, and you can mark those like on hold, where it's like, I'm not worried about that. And you can also come in And again, remember, you can edit these properties, so you could even add in at this to-do level, or even maybe not at the to-do level. You could do it at the to-do level. You could do it down here where we'll just set these to archived. So we'll say is archived, and this is just a way to give you like, hey, do I care? I have these marked as active and I don't have anything here. That's a problem. But I'm not worried about that. And then, so I'm going to go through, and again, just to give you an overview, pillars, and you go back, your dreams, and then of course, everything's still going to be pulling up to give you hints as to what you might want if it is missing certain things that are there as you go through and get, ideally you should have less and less as you go through the actions, habits. If you get through and you're like, oh yeah, I can do this, and it sparks something, add it. But I'm going to really quickly pause the video once more, and I'm going to go through and clean all of the rest of these, just so you can see what having a fully cleaned and fully linked system enables in our focus dashboards and on the daily dashboard. So I'm going to get to that, and I'll be back in just. As I was cleaning up, I wanted to kind of call out, because up until about this point, you have like pillars, areas, dreams, and all of that that are really aligned. Once you get down to the execution level, everything should tie up to, so if you're working on a project, it needs to have actions and it needs to be tied to some sort of goal that you're trying to achieve. Yes, you could have one that ties to a pillar that is nothing else, but I would really argue there's a goal behind that that you should be tracking. So again, if you have subtasks, you just really just go and link it that way. But that's why there's the and ordering here is intentional, is because if I've got actions that are missing a project or habit, I need to really make sure that they have a goal associated with them. Or yeah, so actions should relate to projects. And if I have a goal or milestone that doesn't have a project or habit to it, am I actually doing anything to advance on it? So if you come here, it's like, oh, well, I don't have any projects tied to this because I don't currently have anything, then that's something to be aware of. But I can see that I definitely have other things tied to this. So I will, so for this one, I can do project like this is this is Washington trip. So I also think in terms of like if I'm going on a trip, well, the trip in and of itself is a project, and then I have different actions in it through, and that can also be different sub projects. So, you know, going to Washington, Mount St. Helens could be a thing, and that's like, okay, I have to get all this stuff to do that, and then there may be other things that go along with it. So there's just other ways to think about that. And then I'll go through and clean these up as well, so we'll have everything fully ready to go. And then the same thing with actions and tasks. We really need to make sure that any action that we're doing is helping us reach our goals, and if possible, linking it to a project or a habit that we are trying to cultivate on that. So let me finish cleaning all this up, and then we'll go into, I'll wrap up this video, and then we'll go into the focus dashboards and your day-to-day. All right, so now I've got everything completely cleaned up in this maintenance area. And so, like I said, once a month, come in here just to touch things up if they need it. This is the last thing you need to do before you're ready to kind of launch into your system has its launch phase. So once all of the information's there, because you've kind of built things out, Now you're ready to go through and use it to operate on a day-to-day basis, and that is how. And that is what we will cover in the next videos that'll walk through our daily and the different focus dashboards. See you in the next video.